On my birthday, Sean, the alpha of Black Pack, was once again summoned away by his adopted daughter Lila. Furious, I posted a declaration on the Werewolf Forum. The best birthday gift Sean gave me is his promise that I'll become the Luna of Black Pack this year. The next second, a provocative message from Lila popped up. It was a sex tape of Lila and Sean. In the video, all the buttons on her clothes had been violently torn open. Beneath her disheveled garments, glaring hickeys trailed down from her collarbone. And the broad-shouldered figure of the man on top of her, I could recognize him with my eyes closed. Below the video was a caption. I gave my first time to my beloved Sean. My phone screen froze on Lila's provocative video. Behind the frosted glass, Sean's silhouette in the shower pierced my heart like a thorn. On my 29th birthday, Sean left me alone in an empty villa and took his adopted daughter to a hotel. Looking at the post I'd made half an hour ago, visible only to him, I felt nothing but bitter irony. Unwillingness sprouted wildly in my chest like weeds. I grabbed my car keys and rushed out the door. His assistant said he was at the golf course today, playing with several pack alphas. I needed to ask him face to face what these 10 years had meant. The golf course lawn was scorching hot. The caddy was about to announce my arrival when I raised my hand to stop him. I wanted to see how he'd explain today's events in front of his brothers. I'd just walked behind the palm trees near the rest area when Sean's voice drifted over, grating on my nerves. I'm done with this hole. Lila just messaged saying she's awake at the hotel and wants me to come back for brunch with her. The alphas playing with him burst into laughter. One of them slapped the table and teased. Sean's got eyes for no one but his adopted daughter these days. Last time we played, he took one call from Lila, dropped his club, and left. We were all stunned. Another chimed in. Speaking of which, Lila's really blossomed into a beauty. Tiny waist, long legs. Don't tell me you're not tempted, seeing her every day? Tempted. His tone dripped with undisguised pride. He leaned back in his chair with a lazy, arrogant posture. More than tempted. I took her virginity. She gave herself to me on her coming-of-age night. As his words landed, the alphas erupted in laughter, exchanging knowing glances. Way to go, Sean. You know how to play it. Raised a girl for over a decade and made her yours in the end. I raised her all these years. What's wrong with collecting a little interest? Sean scoffed, his tone matter-of-fact. Besides, her father died saving me back then that I owe her that much. Better she gives her first time to me than to some rogue or inferior alpha out there. Casual words, making his immoral possession sound like a grand favor. Someone laughed and added, Aren't you worried Alara will find out? Last time I saw her, she looked terrible. She's probably sent something. At the mention of me, Sean's tone turned cold, laced with undisguised disgust and impatience. Her? What can she do even if she finds out? She's nearly 30, an omega with no parents, no pack. Without me, she doesn't even have a place to live. Does she dare make a scene? He paused, as if remembering something, and scoffed with contempt. Besides, who knows if she's even clean? 10 years ago, she was in that alley with 3 rogue wolves for so long, her clothes all torn. Who knows what happened? I'm being generous by keeping her around. She should be grateful. Lila's better, he said, swirling his strawberry milkshake. His tone softened with a tenderness I'd never heard from him. She grew up by my side. I know everything about her. She's clean and well-behaved. She doesn't nag me all day like Alara does. So damn annoying. The alphas chimed in one after another. Exactly. A home-raised omega is way better than a wild one. Clean and obedient. Alara's so ungrateful. An alpha willing to take her in is generous enough, and she still tries to control everything. If you ask me, Alpha, you should have dumped her long ago. Marry Lila. You'll also win over her father's old subordinates. 2 birds with 1 stone. Sean impatiently cut off the conversation, his tone suggesting even mentioning me was a mood killer. Enough, enough. Stop bringing her up. Why, even talk about her. Let's keep playing. Lila's driving over to pick me up later. Don't want to keep her waiting. I stood behind the palm tree, my entire body freezing cold. So my 10 years of companionship were nothing but charity in his eyes. The night I nearly got killed by rogues trying to save my sister Airless had become evidence of my uncleanliness in his mouth. Memory yanked me back 10 years to that chaotic night. Wind whipped at my loose hair. In a daze, I was transported to that cold, rainy border dusk a decade ago. I was 19. Airless, who grew up with me in the orphanage, had been lured to the northern border by 3 wandering rogues. No one at the orphanage cared if we lived or died. The police didn't take it seriously. I clutched the money I'd saved from 6 months of part-time work, bought the cheapest bus ticket, and chased after her to the border alone. When I crept into the warehouse, Airless was tied to a pillar, her face badly swollen, her clothes torn to shreds. 3 rogues surrounded her, taunting her with vile words. My vision went red. I grabbed a rusty steel pipe by the door and charged in, swinging wildly at them like a madwoman. As an Omega, I was no match for 3 adult alphas. I was quickly kicked to the ground. Fists and feet rained down on me. The pain was excruciating. But I shielded Airless behind me, gritting my teeth, refusing to retreat even half a step. Even if I died, I couldn't let them touch my sister. Just as the lead rogue raised his club to smash my head, the warehouse door was kicked open. Bang! Sean stood at the entrance with Black Pack's border patrol. His black tactical uniform was soaked with rain, his eyes cold as ice. He merely raised his hand, and the guards behind him rushed forward, pinning the 3 rogues to the ground. He walked up to me and paused. I was covered in injuries, my face smeared with mud and blood. Though I was trembling with fear, I still shielded my sister behind me. When I looked up at him, tears mixed with rainwater streamed down my face. He crouched down and reached out to wipe the mud from my face. It's okay now. You're safe. He brought Airless and me back to the border camp, found us clean clothes, and called the medical officer to treat our wounds. I sat by the campfire, watching him crouch in front of me, cleaning the wounds on my hands. You're an Omega, and you dare to break into a rogue den alone? Have a death wish. He looked up at me, his eyes carrying a hint of reproach, but more than that, undeniable emotion. I bit my lip, my voice hoarse. Airless and I both grew up in an orphanage. No parents, no one to care about us. She's my only family. I couldn't lose her. His hand cleaning his gun suddenly froze. He looked up at me. For the first time, the sharp edge in his gaze softened, replaced by something indescribable. That night, he gave Airless and me his room while he and his team stayed in tents outside, keeping watch all night. Everyone in the camp knew Sean never let anyone into his room. We were the first. The next day when he returned from patrol, he had a handful of milk candies and wildflowers picked from the roadside. The herder's kids gave these to me, brought them for you to try. The usually cold alpha's ears turned red as he handed me the flowers. I stayed at the camp for 5 days. He avenged us, wiped out that group of rogues, and even found Airless a proper office job in Chicago, renting a small apartment with a balcony for her. The day I left, he leaned against his SUV, looking at me with a deep, serious gaze. Ilera, come back to Chicago with me. From now on, Black Pack will be your support. Anyone under my protection, no one in Chicago will dare touch them. He paused, reaching out to ruffle my hair. The gesture was dominant, yet gentle. I'll give you a home. In my 19 years, no one had ever said such words to me. Orphanage kids were always abandoned. No one cared if we lived or died. I looked into his eyes, nodded, and tears fell. He removed the wolf thong pendant he'd worn for over a decade from his neck and personally placed it around mine. This is for you. When I'm not around, It'll protect you in my place. On my first birthday back in Chicago, he, an alpha, personally baked me a cake. Back then, he sat across from me, smiling. From now on, I'll bake you a cake every birthday. We'll be together forever. The memory receded like a tide. 10 years. He lured me in with the promise of home, dulled my claws with Blackpack's protection. In the end, he joined others in mocking my origins and questioning my purity. I steadied myself against the cold wall and slowly straightened up. I glanced one last time at the man laughing and chatting in the main seat, then without hesitation, threw the pendant around my neck into the trash. Sean, it was you who let go first. I turned and left the golf course, walking aimlessly along the coastline. The sea breeze carried a salty tang, making the tear tracks on my face feel ice cold. 10 years of genuine devotion wasted. Even hatred felt superfluous now. Only endless exhaustion and emptiness remained. I walked to a secluded rocky beach, a place Sean and I used to visit often. He'd once promised me a home here. Ironically, now only I remained. Just as I crouched down to pick up a stone to throw into the sea, footsteps sounded behind me. I turned around. 3 men in black hoodies surrounded me, their eyes vicious, clearly not good people. "You're Sean's Omega?" The leader sneered. "Our boss got ruined by Sean. Today we're taking it out on you." They were sent by one of Sean's business rivals. My heart sank. I turned to run, but they blocked my path. "Where do you think you're going?" The man reached for my hair. "Sean's so arrogant, isn't he? Why isn't anyone here to save you now?" I struggled desperately, but was kicked hard in the stomach by one of them. Searing pain hit instantly. I curled up on the ground, drenched in cold sweat. Seeing I couldn't move, they became even more brazen, reaching to tear my clothes. Just then, a figure stepped in front of me. A powerful alpha aura erupted, instantly forcing the 3 rogues to their knees. "You dare cause trouble on Blackpack territory?" A deep voice came from above my head. I looked up to see a man in a dark blue suit. Behind him stood several guards in Blackpack uniforms, guns drawn and aimed at the 3 men. The man crouched down, reaching out to help me. His voice was steady. "Are you all right?" I tried to stand with his help, but another wave of abdominal pain struck. Everything went black. The last thing I felt was my body falling forward uncontrollably. I woke to the smell of disinfectant in a hospital. I moved slightly. A clear, heavy pain came from my lower abdomen. The medical officer approached, voice calm. "Alara, you've had a miscarriage." I blinked, staring at the ceiling lights. I didn't cry or break down. It felt like the moment I heard Sean's words. My heart had already died. What I'd lost now was simply a child who should never have come into this world. The door opened. The man who'd saved me walked in, holding my examination report. The hospital room door opened gently. The man who saved me entered, my examination report in hand. "You're awake." He poured a glass of warm water and handed it to me, his movements gentlemanly, maintaining an appropriate distance. "I'm Kale." So this was the legitimate Blackpack Sean had always been wary of. I took the water glass and said softly, "Thank you. Security has taken those 3 men away. They were sent by one of Sean's business rivals." He paused, looking at me. "Do you need to contact your alpha?" "Sean?" I thought of how he'd bragged about sleeping with his adopted daughter at the golf course, mocking my uncleanliness. I shook my head. "No need." Kale looked at me, but didn't press. "I've already paid the medical bills. You need to rest. Miscarriages are very hard on an Omega's body." I looked at him and suddenly smiled. "Kale, how should I thank you?" He paused, then shook his head. "No need. Protecting Omegas is every alpha's responsibility." He left a business card and turned to leave the room. I was alone in the hospital room. Waves of pain from my lower abdomen kept coming, as if reminding me of my past foolishness. I picked up my phone and opened Sean's chat interface. The last message was one he'd sent this morning. "There's a family dinner tonight. Wear that white dress I bought you. Don't be late." I stared at those words for a long time. Then my fingers slid across the screen. Block, delete, done. From the moment he said those words at the golf course, we were already over. This child's departure simply gave me a reason to let go completely. I would never look back. Sean, we're even now.